just forget that we're having a problem and just pretend like we're normal.
Maybe you need like a repeater or something down there.
We have a repeater. That's when this problem started. That's my own opinion, though. I'm not the one that wires up the house.
Okay.
So, Ben, it's very nice to talk to you once again here in this world that we call the United States of America. And there's some other countries too, but yeah. I'm so let's jump right into Ben's gonna guess the news. Hey Ben.
Hey Paul.
There's a government body or an agency called NARA, N-A-R-A. Do you know who that is?
NARA. I've never heard of them before. So let me guess. National Aerospace
You're off to a good start.
Resource Association.
Already bad.
Yeah, no, I have no idea. No idea what it is.
Here's the great thing. I knew what it was before the podcast started, and now I forgot. It has to do with archiving. National Archiving Regulation Agency or something like that.
I think I know where this is going.
But I could be wrong on that. So Ben, on Ben Gonna Guess the News, what thing that is happening right now in U.S. politics is NARA extremely interested in?
NARA is extremely interested in the deleted text messages of Secret Service agents during the January 6th insurrection.
That is correct. And Ben, for bonus points, do you know why the Secret Service is saying that those text messages were deleted?
I don't know that part, actually. Aside from just like trying to cover their tracks because members were doing something they should not have been doing.
It was, according to the Secret Service, at this point, it was a planned phone upgrade that was planned before the subpoena for those text messages that erased the text messages.
That's their excuse.
Yeah. So I understand if you or I were to get a phone and we move to a different phone, maybe some of our contacts don't make it. Maybe, we don't have all the photos that we thought we did. They weren't backed up to the cloud or what have you. So one could forgive a Secret Service agent who has, and I don't know exactly the details of this phone upgrade, but you could see how maybe, I moved to a different phone. I don't have all my text messages anymore. The reason that NARA is, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I can see how you or me can do that, or our parents doing that, but I can't see how a government agency with government phones and a government IT infrastructure lets that happen.
Yeah, and this is why NARA is interested, because they also would like to know how that were to happen, how that would have happened. So yay, exciting stuff, Ben. In other news, I went to Seafood City, which is close to Wajimaya, sort of like Wajimaya.
Okay.
It's stuff from other countries, mostly Asian countries, different food things. And I found something that I really like called pineapple beer.
Pineapple beer? I am assuming since you like it, this is a non-alcoholic beer.
It is non-alcoholic. Well, it has 0.08% alcohol, so a little bit.
Yeah.
0.08% though. 0.8.
I don't know. Yeah, you probably won't be able to drink enough to get drunk before you get sick of this stuff and die.
But the interesting thing is, the thing I liked about it was it's sort of like a pineapple soda, but it doesn't taste as sweet. But It has as much sugar in it as a Dr. Pepper. So interesting as far as that goes. And speaking of Dr. Pepper, Ben, another gonna guess the news. Seth Meyers uh, was interested in a certain soft drink for some reason. Can you name what the soft drink was and the reason why he was interested?
Pepper, and the reason,
And Ben is frozen.
and I was frozen. Yeah, and YouTube just told me that I was offline. So yeah, I'm getting, for whatever reason, and this only happens when you and I are talking. I have no idea why, but we're back. Anyway.
It's because they start tapping us as soon as I get on the phone.
Exactly. So Seth Meyers was interested in Diet Dr. Pepper because, God, what was her name? The Trump lawyer who was pushing the false narrative of the election fraud during her January 6th deposition seemed very interested in her Diet Dr. Pepper. So, like, had the label out when she was testifying and took some healthy swigs of her Diet Dr. Pepper. What was her name?
Absolutely correct, Ben.
But I'm blanking on her name.
Gosh, I don't know. I also do not know.
Dang it. You and I saw the same
thing. It is
thing.
now your turn.
Oh, God.
Try your best to tell me a news story.
This is something new. Apparently, there was an event at the Hoover Dam just today. Can you tell me what happened at the Hoover Dam just today?
Someone visiting the Hoover Dam recorded an explosion at the Hoover Dam. And the Boulder City, Nevada police or fire department were called. Probably fire department. But the fire was out before they arrived. Before officials from Boulder City, Nevada arrived, the fire was already out.
Yeah. So,
Look
congratulations.
I did it.
So what's interesting is that they're saying that an electrical transformer blew up. And as you may or may not know, I believe it's the first Michael Bay Transformers movie has a large Hoover Dam is a large set piece. So when people are saying a transformer exploded at the Hoover Dam, Reddit was like, "What exploded?"
That's funny. That's funny. So my watching of C.
Yeah.
The Prestige Apple TV C has ended. I've watched all of it. And spoilers for C.
Okay.
David Bautista is playing not just some unknown warrior. He is playing Jason Momoa's brother. And you and I have talked about how Dave Bautista is actually a good actor. I think we talked about him in Blade Runner.
Blade Runner
2046, I want to say.
2049.
Guardians of the
Galaxy.
He's really good in that. He's funny in that.
Drax.
So I'm watching it. And I'm like, I don't know. There's something about what he's doing that's rubbing me a little bit the wrong way. I don't know what it is. And I suddenly realized that he is actually making an effort to sound like Jason Momoa, like their brothers. Like he's actually doing it. But when you're not Jason Momoa, acting like Jason Momoa may not work for you.
Right.
As well.
But I mean, Jason, what do you mean he's trying to sound like? It's not like Jason Momoa is like Australian or anything like that. He's
no, his cadence. I mean, he's actually I'm gonna go I've not read uh, anything about Dave Bautista's work
His process.
on sea or anything, but I really do think that he listened to Jason Momoa and he is practicing his cadence and his like the way that he says things and stuff.
And you don't think it works?
It's really interesting. No, once I figured it out, once I heard both of them talking to each other, I was like, oh my gosh. But at first I wasn't sure what he was doing. But that's the thing. And once, and this is just my opinion again, but once I figured out what it was what I think he was doing, it all of a sudden clicked and retroactively became, oh yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like C. I like, a lot of people don't like it. I like it.
Never seen it, but it is far down on the list of things that I'll probably watch sometime soonish or in the future.
Have you seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness?
I have seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
I have Disney Plus, but I haven't watched it yet. Is it good? Should I take a look at it? Did you enjoy it?
Well, yeah, I did enjoy it, but I'm an easy target, right? I'm not very critical when I go see movies or TV shows. Like, if something entertains me, I like it. But
you and I have very similar tastes, I think.
Yeah, but Sam Raimi directed it, and there are a couple of moments where, like, if I didn't know Sam Raimi directed it, I would have thought somebody was trying to pretend to be Sam Raimi.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah.
You should watch it just for that. But it's these Marvel movies are getting way too long. Doctor Strange is already like over 2.5 hours, I think.
Wow. Oh, I'm interested. So, but you know what I'm going to be doing this weekend?
I don't know what you're going to be doing this weekend.
I am going to be seeing Nope.
Oh, yeah.
It opens this weekend.
The new Jordan Peele
Jennifer wants to do it. Now, granted, it's possible, we are busy people and we have our lives and things, and something might happen, or it might get sold out, whatever. But if all goes according to plan, we will be seeing it this weekend. Pretty exciting.
Nope.
I watched a thing where the cast of Nope read fan theories.
Yeah.
Fan theories, Ben.
Fan
Sometimes
theories.
It's called fan theories. And I was worried that I would spoil something, but of course, all the fan theories that they went over weren't it.
No, because they're not going to actually say the real theory on whatever like YouTube video they're doing.
Someone suggested that Nope stood for not of planet Earth, which is fun, but nope.
They
said nope.
Nope. There was actually an interesting video that Jordan Peele did. I don't know, one of these like magazines like Variety or GQ or something. So sometimes they do like Jordan Peele answers Twitter questions, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But Jordan Peele did a I don't know if it's a fan theory reaction, but like he would read fan theories about Get Out. And it was really interesting in what he would deny and confirm. Can
you give me spoilers for Get Out?
I can't. But because I can't remember anything specific. But there was one where you could tell that he hadn't thought of this particular theory, but liked it.
Yeah.
And was like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, that's what I meant, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look it up if you have a chance.
This might have been there was one interview that he did where he was dressed like Jack Torrance for his photo shoot, and you don't notice it at first. There's something about it, but you don't, and then you realize that's what it was. And it reminded me of one of the best things on Twitter that I liked a whole bunch. he did a tweet that was The Shining with just emojis, and you could totally tell what it was. Like,
Yeah.
it was really great.
I have a friend who actually did all the Harry Potter movies in emoji form.
Yeah.
Just like sitting on the bus, transcribing Harry Potter in with emojis. Transcribing is not the right word, but
translating almost.
Yeah, interpreting more likely.
Yeah.
Jordan Peele said in an interview that I can't remember if it was for Get Out or for Us, but he would, because he does a great Barack Obama impression, and he would direct scenes in his movie as Obama.
Of course he would. You know, this is the thing, is that just because he can do scary things doesn't mean he's not also very funny.
Right. Right.
I mean, I really do get surprised sometimes when Key and Peele come on, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
They were a comedy
one half
duo.
of an amazing comedy duo.
Yeah.
As well as a brilliant filmmaker.
Well, I mean, he says Get Out is not a horror movie; it's a reality picture.
Reality picture?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's you know, it's real life.
Oh, okay. Not that it's a reality show. Like I was okay. I apologize. I was thinking like, yeah, that people who are in that, they didn't know that they were.
Oh no.
Filmed. And,
it's not a reality show. It's not a horror. It's a, you know, it's just a slice of life.
When
it's a
people
documentary.
Say, exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm with you. And if you think about it, really, reality television is sort of a documentary. That's kind of what they're trading on.
Yeah, well, I mean, reality television is hardly reality, is it? You know, a documentary. For the documentary, you have, you know, real people talking about real things, but reality television is hardly that.
Oh my gosh, John, blanking on his name, and I should know it. I should know what it is. He did Fishing with John. He was in The Lounge Lizards. Mike Dowdy tells a story that is probably him in his book about a guy who calls up and says that he doesn't want to perform that night. So Mike Dowdy says, okay, well then don't. John. Oh, this is going to drive me nuts.
Is it John from the Long Winters?
No.
Okay.
No, John. Like if you look up Down by Law, the movie Down by Law, he is in that with Tom Waits and Roberto Benigni, and John.
Welcome to the show where Paul just tries to...
repeating the word John over and over again.
I don't know this guy actually. I know his name now. He plays Jack in Down by Law. Is that what you're thinking of?
What's his name?
John Lurie.
John Lurie. It is John Lurie. Yes, he's a painter now, and I will shout out. He is a painter with a distinctive style.
Where he tries to mimic Jason Momoa.
No. And he complains a lot about the art establishment. I think he says they want fine arts, but they really just say fire ants, something like that. I don't know. It's a weird thing. But anyway, John Lurie is the one who, in Fishing with John, you know, he's with Tom Waits, and they're getting ready to do some fishing, and Tom is singing a song, and John Lurie just looks at him and goes, "Row!" because Tom is just singing and not doing any actual rowing.
I watched a TV show recently called The Rehearsal with Nathan Fielder, I think his name is. Have you heard of this TV show?
Yeah, how was it? Yeah,
it's interesting. It's hard to... Fielder. It's hard to... From Nathan For You, which I'd never seen before.
Yeah, Nathan For You. Yep.
It's one of those things, right? It's hard to say whether or not everything's actually happening as portrayed or if it's scripted in some way. People are making this out to be if like it's actually happening, it's real. So if that's the case, then yeah, it's a pretty interesting show. But even if it's not, even if it's all scripted, it's still it's an interesting concept.
Well, there's another layer to it if it's all scripted. My guess, my guess is this: there is absolutely no way, and I've stated this before when I talk about like reality TV and stuff like that. There's absolutely no way to have a reality TV show and not have some of it prearranged. I'm not going to say scripted. I'm going to say prearranged.
Yeah.
Because you all have to show up and be at a certain place at a certain time. That's one. Two, you all have to be mic'd. That's another thing. That is a thing that you would not normally do. And you have to be in an area so that the cameras can catch you.
Yeah.
All of those things together, you don't necessarily have somebody handing you a script with pages and having you memorize it, but there are people who are putting people into situations and hoping it goes a certain way, if nothing else. There was a game, not a game, but one of those competition reality shows.
Right.
That there was a news article that somebody wrote about it where they were talking about how the way that they got onto the show was that someone matched with them on a dating app. And then they said, "Oh, actually, I have a boyfriend, but you would be great for the show that we're doing." And apparently most of the people had that happen to them.
Oh, jeez.
And then when they got there, they took their phones and their passports and wallets. And there was this thing where, like, they couldn't get food, but they would give them alcohol. All this weird stuff. All of which, again, you're playing with fire at that point, but you're priming people to behave erratically, and be perhaps more truthful or more performative than they normally would be.
That reminds me of this, I think it's a This American Life story I heard a while back, so I'm going to get some of the details wrong. But there was a game show in Japan where they locked the contestant up in a room, took everything away, even his clothes. And he had to... he had to mail away for stuff. I think in Japan they have like games that you mail in and you win something, you lose something. So he had to win these by mail prizes, and so the more times he won, the more stuff he got back. The dude was a contestant for like months and became like a TV sensation without even knowing it. I think at some point he just kind of like loses his mind. And yeah, it's a really interesting, like how legal is that? Like that would never fly here. You can't just lock somebody up, even if they think they're a contestant on the game show. You can't lock somebody up naked in a room and say, okay, now you just have to write letters and win these subscriptions to get stuff back. I forgot how he eventually won. I'll have to go back and listen to this story again because it's really fascinating.
When I was a psychology student, one of the things that I noted right away, and I brought up several times, and the professors were like, "Yeah, I guess, whatever," was that there was stuff that you could do on candid camera that would not pass an ethics review for a sociological experiment or a social psychology experiment.
Yeah.
Like one of the things, and not just candid camera, but totally hidden video, all of those shows. One of them, there's a border crossing that they set up in California for Canada. so people have to, and that my favorite one, I've mentioned it before. There are these people who are supposed to be in a surprise party, and they're all in on it except for one guy, and that guy goes in the closet, and they're like, okay, 3, 2, and while they're saying 3, 2, 1, everyone is shuffling out silently, and a family is coming in and sitting down at dinner. And so when they say 3, 2, 1, he jumps out. He's wearing a party hat and he yells, "Surprise!" And all the family that's there, a mom, dad, 2 kids, they look shocked and they're like, "Who are you? What are you doing in my house?" And it's not something that you could do to people.
Yeah.
But when you mentioned Japanese game shows, I remembered that there was one show that I saw a video of. This would have been in like 2000, where, or no, not even 2000, like 90s even, where this woman gets kidnapped on the street, bag over her head, all that kind of stuff, and she's pleading for her life and she's screaming and everything, and she gets ushered into a studio audience. They're all completely silent, and then they rip the bag off of her head and everyone cheers and she's crying.
Yeah.
And it's that sort of crazy stuff. But the thing that I wanted to mention, your friend of mine, Troy Lund, and I think the statutes of limitations is gone, so we can say this about this. Do you remember there was a British TV show that was sort of like Candid Camera, sort of like Totally Hidden Video, all that. Something TV, I think it was called, where it was just a guy who, like, he was a tour bus driver in one of them, and then he said to people he couldn't do it anymore and just left, and they're all on the bus, that sort of thing.
I don't. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Well, you get
show.
the idea, though. It's
totally.
It's one of those shows.
Yeah.
But there was an American version. Actually, maybe it's better if we don't say what show it is. There was an American version of the show that they were filming in Seattle, and Troy got called for it, and he thought that he was going to be one of the people that does the wacky things.
Yeah.
But they just cleared out a coffee shop and filled it with actors, so that when the people came in and did their weird stuff, they would all be like, "What is it? What are they doing? I don't understand."
Yep. That way, they don't have to. The production
of,
company doesn't have to find everybody sitting in the coffee shop and have them sign a release so they could be on TV.
And also, people who are there to be real people, don't like call the police. Don't try to intervene when something weird happens.
Right.
It's difficult to tell what people are going to do. But I think the weird thing is that with TikTok and all that, people are being trained to be performers a little bit more than they once were, I suppose. Yeah, still not on it, by the way. It's been a while.
I just saw a headline recently where the FCC is recommending that TikTok be taken off of all the app stores just because of the way it treats user data.
Yeah, I think we talked about this, but if we didn't, there was a meeting at which point they talked about being firewalled between the United States and China, and one of the engineers from China was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I can see everything," and it was a big problem. Which I actually like. Good on that engineer, because that's what you want out of your engineers. Right. Marketing
just
be damned.
Blunt
I'm gonna
honesty.
Tell you, yeah, what's happening. So yeah, that's part of the thing. I believe people who are involved in national security stuff, things like that, probably shouldn't be using it.
Or the Secret Service.
In the same way, like Fitbit stuff, right? You remember this? Have you heard about it?
Well, I know what a Fitbit is. What are you talking about specifically?
So at one point in time, there were Fitbit users on secret bases and stuff like that that aren't on any maps, were kind of putting a bullseye on them because they would turn them on as soon as they left the area where they couldn't have them on.
Yeah.
And so there's this black spot and then all these Fitbit users around it,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny. But so yeah, same sort of thing. Oh, back when I was on TikTok, also, I was like, why are there so many people that are doing TikToks from their cars? They're just sitting in their cars. What's the deal with that? And then I realized, oh, I get it. They're at work. They're at work. They get up from their desk. They go to their car. They film their TikTok, and then they go back in.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's another question. Productivity. How much of it is gone?
Well, I mean,
From-
has that changed? I mean, has people just now have a different means of distraction from their day to day? I
Yeah.
mean, we didn't have
I would say
TikTok or
probably.
Twitter when we, 20 years ago when we had our corporate jobs, but there was still just as much distractions.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've been pretty lucky with. Well, no, I take that back. I do remember being in a corporate job. Well, I've told you. I think probably the worst egregious thing that ever happened to me. But before I was working in Seattle. This is at a different place. I'm not going to name the place or anything like that. But I was supposed to be filing using an actual filing cabinet and things like that. But the system was so messed up, I didn't know how to fix it. So I would just stare at them all day and go, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble eventually. And yeah, so I left that job before I did get in trouble. However, now knowing what I do know, I'm like, I would love to take another shot at that. I would love to be given the chance to go through those things.
To clean up the mess.
Yeah, now I know how. But the big thing is that the idea when people say do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life and all that.
Yeah.
I have a different take, and that's that there's a fine balance that you need in order to really feel like you're not working. And that's that you have to be competent in what you're doing and also enraged at your circumstances, because then you get that thing that Twitter gives you or whatever, this sort of entertainment by being mad about something. You can get that at work while you're still doing your stuff. So you're like, why? Who did this?
I haven't.
That's
a new method of worker productivity is the enragement factor.
I honestly think that if we did some deep dives into management process, Ben, there's something in there where people talk about it. They might call it emotional investment or something like that, but yeah, where you're trying to make people mad so that they'll work longer because they're actually putting in effort to yell at somebody or whatever.
Flawless.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at the half hour mark. I think this is going pretty well. If there is any lag, we've sort of hit a stride.
Yeah.
I want to say.
Yeah,
so this is
working.
Me checking in to say, hey, are there any people, any interaction that we're having? Probably not.
Nope, nothing. There seems to be. I mean, on the back end of the YouTube stream, it'll tell me how many concurrent viewers and how many total views, and we have all zeros for this one. But there's a average view duration, which is the length of the show so far. So I've found that if somebody is watching on mobile, that is not counted than if they're watching on a desktop.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, hello, phantom viewer.
I wonder why that is. Maybe privacy settings.
I don't know. One thing we could do is we could
ask app not to track, Ben.
One thing we could do is we could revisit the next GudeLaurance performance and talk about it.
Let's do that.
Well,
I'm
now,
giving a thumbs up to the camera.
so something I ask you each time we do this, do you remember the last thing we talked about?
No. This is probably my answer most of the time, but this time, for
Yeah.
sure, no. It's been too long.
It has
I
been
know
too
that we
long.
talked about Naked Dead Guy.
Did we talked
one I
about Skates
remember.
or Blades? So Naked Dead Guy. After that was
Yeah.
Skates or Blades. Did we talk about Let's Throw a Fish at Joseph?
Ooh, boy. I want to say we did. What's the one after that?
Oh, right. The one after that is The Ballad of Newt. We did talk about that because I emailed John about that. So the one after that is Midnight Road Trip to Tacoma with Paul and Ben.
Oh, we did. We have talked about this, but we haven't
Right.
talked about it.
We haven't. It's not been part of the. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a good one to talk about. This is the origin of the phrase that we would use sometimes, and I'm paraphrasing here because I don't know what the actual thing is. As illogical as getting mad at someone because they didn't go to Tacoma, even though they said they would.
So, what happened was we bought. I think we had these Tacoma T-shirts that you had made.
Oh, my Tacoma T-shirt, by the way, Ben, is no more.
Is no more.
Say it. Yeah, I may have it somewhere, but I can't wear it anymore. I wore it to City Museum, which we've talked about before.
I think that happened when I was visiting.
Oh no!
'Cause I was
that
wearing
makes
it-
sense then.
I was wearing a St. Louis Cardinals shirt, and you were wearing a Tacoma shirt, and it was funny because
Yeah.
we had swapped locations.
But I slid down a slide and it got caught on something, and the
Yeah.
back of it got all ripped up.
We also
And
had
my
so
back
we had
actually got ripped up too.
ouch, get a tetanus
Yeah.
shot. We had those Tacoma shirts.
Too
we
late.
had one for you and I had one, and we were wearing like U.S. top hats or something.
We were wearing top hats. And I believe we also had mustaches.
Yeah, mustaches. And we had a set for an audience member. And the idea for the bit was to get a volunteer from the audience, dress them up, and then drive down to the Denny's in Tacoma,
In
which
Fife.
was technically is in Fife, which is
Yeah.
a bit more north of Tacoma, so it's not as far. And right before we walk out on stage, what happened, Paul? That
well,
sidetracked
the
this
big thing is-
entire thing.
We were gonna film it, and then that
Yeah.
film was gonna be the next thing that we showed at the next Spin the Bottle.
Yeah.
I believe I didn't have tapes for the
That
camera.
is correct.
Was
Yep.
that what it was? I knew it was either I didn't have batteries or I didn't have tapes.
There was no tape in the
problem-
camera.
A problem that would not happen now.
Exactly.
But at the time, a problem.
So
What
we
year was that?
that was 2005.
Wow.
Yeah, quite a while ago.
So even in 2005,
Yeah.
cameras. With,
June 3rd, 2005. So
wow.
what we eventually did, I'm leading up to the disappointment that we didn't go to Tacoma, is we went through with the performance, but we got a volunteer from the audience. I believe it was frequent spin the ball performer Antoinette.
Was it? No. I think I really honestly think it was a regular, like, normal person. I want to say a person who, because they had their boyfriend was with them, I believe. I want
Maybe
to say
it's all just a haze. It's been
I want
17 years.
Wait, who explain Antoinette?
She was a
Antoinette
singer.
is-
She was she was a singer who performed regularly at Spin the Bottle.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. This is not a regular This is not, neither you or I knew this person. I remember that.
Anyway, whoever it was, I thought it was this one person. You don't think it is. Whoever it was, we decided not, because we didn't have, we couldn't make the film. We decided not to go to the Denny's in Fife. We went to the IHOP on Capitol Hill.
It wasn't just because of that. And this is the reason why I'm almost positive it was a normal person. They weren't really into it. Like when it was on stage and things like that, it was one thing. But after that point, they were like, I don't really. So it was them and a couple of their friends and us went to.
We also didn't need a lot of convincing not to go. I think by that point of the evening, you and I were
we
like,
pretty tired.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not do this.
It was one of those situations where I think they had a small amount of misgiving, and then we jumped on that. We're like, hey, well, we could just stay here.
Yeah.
And they were fine with it. But then some other people from Spin the Bottle were at the same IHOP, and they were mad at us.
Yeah, they were mad at us that we didn't actually go down to Fife to the Denny's. Well, because mad. They were like angry or anything. They were just like, I
thought you guys were gonna go, and we were like, were you gonna go with us? What does it matter?
Yeah.
That was fun though. We were like Tacoma, and like we were it was like a rousing speech that one might give to get someone to travel west in a wagon train.
Right.
That was the basic or
some sort of like manifest destiny for Tacoma.
Exactly. That's right. And it was, and the crowd was really into it. We got them all to say Tacoma at the same time. It was nice. And I guess we can talk about this because we still have a little bit of time. That is one of those situations where we went through a couple of stages. One where any publicity we could get for us and what we were doing was good because the spectacle itself was part of the act and all that. And then, and I know that I was the main motivator of this, but for a while I became very, not necessarily camera shy, but I became heavily invested in the GudeLaurance pieces that we're doing are just for us and the audience for the night that we're doing them, and we're not going to record them, and we're not going to have any. And you know, I had a lot of reasons. I said, oh well, I'm in this thing and I can't be filmed in something else because I'm doing this thing. I said that once. I said some other stuff, but I think one of the main reasons that I wanted to do that was I forget who it was. I was reading about one of the people in the art scene in New York, like the William S. Burroughs and all those kind of folks, and how they said, you know, the stories of what we used to do there got more and more, like we became more and more talented the more and more people would tell the stories.
Right.
Basically. Yeah. And I thought that it would do us good if there were some pieces that we did that were only legendary, that that there were no, because, and I think there are some, and once we hit one of them, I'll mention it. But I think there were some that actually were like that. Blood, as an example, that cut, or is it after the shootout? One of them has a cut. Maybe they both have cuts.
It's blood.
Yeah, that cut is like the time that Sherlock Holmes was gone. Anything could have happened in between there, and people don't know because it's not available.
There are a couple of performances. I mean, I think it'll be a while before we get to this one, so I'll just mention it that people who were there still mention it. I don't know, you know, it's not like it still the story is still floating around in the ether. It's not like it's the Jesus and the devil, father son
Yeah.
Thing. But when we had the marshmallow fight and you had Betty.
Oh yes, that one.
That one lives on more so than
And
a lot of the others.
I'm glad that there is not a video of that one, honestly, because I like to remember it the way that I remember it. But yeah, so the basic thing was we threw marshmallows at each other, and I think we talked about this already, you and I. But in case we haven't talked about it on the podcast, we'll talk about it when it comes around again. But the main thing is that there was a woman who observed this happening, and she thought that Betty was upset because people were throwing marshmallows.
Yeah.
But the real thing was, I had Betty on a like a baby Bjorn in front of me, and I leaned forward at one point in time, and she hated being tipped back.
Ah.
So that's what set her off. It wasn't, and I know that sounds weird, but I'm not denying that she was upset. I'm denying the reason that she was upset, and the reason I'm clarifying the reason she was upset.
I just looked it up, and that particular performance was June 2nd, 2006. So a full year from where we are right now.
June 2nd, 2006. That means that Betty was like 3.5 months old.
Yeah.
At the time.
And
So,
did you bring her to spin the bottle for the performance, or were you just had to watch her that night?
No.
Why was she there?
We wrote it specifically with her in it.
Okay. I'd forgotten that part.
I don't think we have scripts for it, but yeah. It was my idea. I thought it would be cool. To have Betty on it. And we actually wrote, Jennifer and I actually wrote a script that we performed to Spin the Bottle with Betty as part of it later on.
But yeah, that one particular it was called Paul and Ben Dashing Sportsman, and it, I believe, is the only time that an audience member stormed out in anger.
Oh yeah, well, she actually yelled at me first and then stormed out.
Yeah, which is not a lot of people. That doesn't often happen during a performance on stage.
Now, yeah, and the thing I'll say is this: I was getting marshmallows thrown at me while wearing a 3.5-month-old on my chest, but I think that she was a little crazy.
Yeah.
And if she hears this and disagrees, that's
what if it turns out that that's somebody we met like years and years later, and what if this person's like now a volunteer at the theater and doesn't know who we are, we don't know who they are.
I mean she must have known someone there.
Yeah. And
been friends with someone. But the big thing is that people came to check on me after that to see if I was okay, which was nice.
Well, yeah, because people are on your side.
But anyone who asks, that's why Betty's autistic. That's what did it.
Oh, jeez.
Kidding.
It's not vaccines. It's marshmallow torture.
The crazy thing is, it's also why I was autistic. So it all works out.
It only started then.
No, but I think we, maybe it was just on this podcast, but we checked in with Betty afterwards to see if she was afraid with marshmallows, and she said no.
And unsurprisingly, doesn't even remember it, because why would she?
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize she was just 3.5 months old, but it makes sense. That's so crazy. I'm going to tell Jennifer about it. So, I mean, she knows about the incident. I just mean I'm going to tell her that she was 3.5. So, yeah. So, I don't think I honestly don't think that we ever got anyone else mad at us. And we did a lot of crazy stuff.
Not to the extent that they came up and yelled at us during the performance and then stormed off, but I don't see people getting mad at us, but like mild bewilderment.
Yeah, of course. Now that's all right. Like, what is this? But Ben, as you know, too goofy to hate. That's the thing.
Too goofy to hate
That's
still is on our
that's
website.
our brand. That's
Yeah. Aside from that one woman who probably still hates us.
yeah. Well, no. I mean, we're just what's wrong with the world.
Yeah, blame us.
Oh my gosh. You know 369, the goose drank wine, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streetcar line. Do you know what I'm
I do
talking about?
not know. I do not know that. What is that?
It's a song. I think it's called the clapping song, maybe. But anyway, one of the lines is 369, the goose drank wine, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streetcar line. And I always wondered why they did 369. Why, it's counting by threes. It's not something that you normally do in a song. And I don't know this for sure, but I'm just looking at the keyboard and the number pad on the
Oh yeah, 369.
right side. You see 369 there. And I think that the number pad is based on adding machines. So if someone were writing the song and they saw that, that might be why. Probably not, but that's where They All Went to Heaven in a Little Rowboat came from as well. At least where it was popularized. I don't know where
Yeah.
where it actually came from. So yeah, the clapping song, Ben.
The clapping song. Is this song a song you learn when you have children?
No, it's a popular song from the 1960s.
Ah.
Late 60s, early 70s. I want to say maybe the 50s, but I don't think so. But yeah.
Let's just say from the 40s to the 80s.
It might be, it might be the same person who did the Name Game, but it's a similar thing. You remember the Name Game, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's in the same vein of that as hey everybody.
Yeah. Some sort of like up with people party song.
Yeah. Up with people party. Let's see. So, what have you? Final things. What have you been watching, Ben? What's on Ben's TV?
I've been hoovering up.
days?
I'm all caught up on Better Call Saul.
Yeah, me too. Well, just one episode so far, right?
No, the newest one dropped last night.
Oh, I gotta watch it.
Yeah, you do gotta watch
I
it.
made a noise.
And then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've been hoovering up the Orville.
Yeah. Okay. So, have you gotten to the one with practical jokes yet?
Yes.
Okay, that's the one that we just watched.
Okay.
So, spoilers for the Orville. It was great. Yeah. The guy getting his lip cut off as a practical joke is exactly the kind of thing an alien would do, I think.
Right.
Robotic alien.
And I love how
and then when it falls down during that. Sorry, go ahead.
I love how the performer of Isaac is doing his very best Brent Spiner impression.
It's so great. Yeah. Brent Spiner called him out. Not called him out badly. Like people said, I can't. Did you do a thing? He's like, no. Anytime somebody would ask him, he'd refer them to the actual actor, which I thought was very nice. But the end of that.
How did it end? I've been watching like 3 a night, so at some point they was just gonna blur together.
In the end, they blew up the wormhole, and Charlize Theron's character disappears.
Oh right,
and then he's left looking at where she was at, and I thought that was weird. And I'm wondering, how that works continuity-wise.
They make a lot of
remember that happening.
Yeah, they make a lot of interesting non-Star Trek choices. Like for I consider it to be like like Seth MacFarlane's like love letter to Star Trek.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But there are a lot of moments where it kind of gets more real. Like Trek is too much of a like utopian society where people always
Right.
make the best choices and they always try to do what's best for everybody else. But I don't think you've seen this episode yet, but there's a moment, and no spoilers, there's a moment where a character kills another character, and you're like, that would never happen on Trek. They would work
Right.
this out. But instead,
Right.
somebody
Well,
gets killed.
Well, as an example, again, spoilers for earlier episodes of the Orville, where the 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 baby is born female, and according
Yeah.
to the society, it gets turned male.
Yeah.
They have the great speech, the great Trek speech kind of thing, where the greatest writer of that species turns out to have been a woman,
Yeah.
and great speech. It all seems to come together. And in Star Trek, they would have said, "Oh, I guess we need to rethink things." But in this, they just did the same thing.
Yep.
And the father is like, one of the fathers is like, we just have to give this child the best life we can now.
Yeah.
And so it sucks. There is not progress.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yet,
It's
they move on.
people making choices,
Which is
and people
exactly what you're talking about.
people not always making the best choice, and that's kind of what I appreciate about the show. It almost feels like, for how absurd and slapsticky it is sometimes it feels a little bit more grounded in reality versus Trek.
Yeah.
Because
I would say
one
so.
child is not going to change, the centuries of a community, of a culture.
Yeah. Exactly. And that kind of stuff, Ben, is why I don't expect things to be better here anytime soon either.
I always make terrible choices.
But yeah. The again, Jennifer still wants to move. I still am looking at the uncertainty of the future and thinking that we're probably not going to do it until at least May of 2023.
Yeah. So
which
next May
is too soon. I mean, too long. So it's one of those tense situations
Okay.
where I don't want to move just to move again. And hopefully I won't have to. Maybe something good, maybe some stability will happen between now and then, but who knows? And I don't know. It feels bad because I know that she wants to, and I want her to be happy, but in the same way,
Is it
just
Yeah.
that I know what it would mean if I would make the choice to do that, and then we would have to move again right away. It would be
Right.
a little crazy. So
Yeah. I mean, nobody wants to move twice in a year,
exactly. We'll see.
especially when you got all your stuff.
Right, exactly. But who knows? I mean, the other thing is, like I was saying, what if we don't move, but we act like we're going to, and just get rid of a whole bunch of stuff? Then the house
And
would
clean
seem
and
larger.
organize.
Yeah, but she rightfully said, we don't do that. We
Nope.
say we should,
Yeah.
but then we don't. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Yeah, I did clean out the bedroom. It worked out pretty well. So who knows?
That's nice.
Speaking of nice, it was nice talking to you, Ben.
Hey, is it that time? Hey, Paul. Thanks for
It is.
doing this so early in the week.
Yeah, no problem. And what's going on Thursday? You're going to the doctor?
No, I'm heading out of town.
Oh, that's right.
I will be out of town this weekend.
Why did I think you were going to the? Oh, somebody else is going to the doctor.
Somebody else is going, not me. I've been to
Yep.
the doctor.
Pretty
I'm
nice.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been to the doctor in a while. I'm waiting until I lose some weight, so they don't yell at me.
They're not
And
going to
so what's
yell at you,
happening
Paul.
instead is I am overweight and unhealthy. Anyway, talk to you later, Ben. Have a good one.